So hello everyone. So we will get started with the next important topic of neuroanatomy, that is white fibers of cerebrum. So if you take this topic, a very important essay question, you can expect this question this year. Okay, so we have a set of some important questions that we can expect. So we will be posting it very shortly. So one such important question that you must concentrate is white fibers of cerebrum. So I have just taken some shots of university question papers that I have put it in the last slide. So to just bring in some confidence in you. So I'll be talking at the end with the question paper. So let me get started with the topic without wasting any time. So if you take the objectives, so the essay question is framed in this order. So first they will ask you to classify the white fibers, and they ask you to talk about internal capsule. Corpus callosum, why I have included is, it is not asked in the theory exam very frequently, but for your practicals, corpus callosum is a discussion point. So I have just included that in this session. So let us get started with the classification first. So before that, what is this white fibers? So you all know the cerebrum is going to be, I can say you have a outer region and inner region. So outer region you have a gray matter, and inner region you have a white matter. Right, so you all know this gray matter is made up of a collection of neuronal cell bodies. Okay, so gray matter is collection of neuronal cell bodies, and the white matter is going to be made up of your myelinated nerve fibers. So I hope you all know the structure of a neuron, right? So you have a cell body, you will have an axon, you will have an axon terminal. So this axonal portion, which is myelinated, is what constitutes your white matter. So we are interested in talking about this white matter of cerebrum. Okay, so if you take white matter, as I said, we have this collection of myelinated nerve fibers. The name given is white fibers of cerebrum. Okay, so this is just collection of myelinated nerve fibers, that is white fibers of cerebrum. Okay, so if you take, you have three types of fibers found. So as I told, your essay question is going to start with classification, right? So if you take, there are three types of fibers, or your entire white matter is going to be divided into three. You have something called as association fibers, you have something called commissural fibers, you have something called projection fibers. So if they ask in classification, you are supposed to give this classification and write just 1 or 2 points about it, more than enough. So if you take association fibers, which means it is going to associate some two structures, that is why it is called as association. So if you take this association fibers, they are called as intra-hemispherical fibers. Intra, okay, intra means what? Within something, it is going to establish a connection. So if you take these association fibers, they are going to connect the adjacent gyri of the same hemisphere. Okay, what it is intra-hemispherical, which means they are going to establish connection within the hemisphere. Okay, so between two adjacent gyri, it is going to establish a connection within the same hemisphere. That is called as association fibers. Okay, so they are intrahemispherical fibers. They are going to interconnect the adjacent sulci or gyri within the same hemisphere. Okay, so if you take, this is a picture of association fibers. Okay, so if you take here, if you see, okay, this is going to be one hemisphere, and if you take, this is one gyri, this is another gyri. So this is called a short association. So we will see what are the types of association fibers. I hope you all understood what is an association. So ore hemisphere kulla, if it is going to be present, it is called as an association fiber. So you have two types of association fibers. You have a short association fiber and a long association fiber. So if you take this picture, here he has given short association bundles. What you can understand from this picture, so this is a gyri and this is a gyri, and if you take this short association fibers, they interconnect the adjacent gyri of the same hemisphere. What is it? The short association fibers, they interconnect the adjacent gyri of same hemisphere. Whereas if you take long association fibers, meaning they are lengthy. Okay, so comparatively they are going to be longer. So it is going to connect the gyris within the same hemisphere. Say suppose I say this is one hemisphere. So a long association fiber can connect this gyri with this gyri. Okay, so these are long association fibers. That is, they are going to be present within the same hemisphere, but they are going to connect distant gyri. So you should know what is an association fiber. So I have told you it's an intrahemispherical, and we have two types: a short association fiber and a long association fiber. Short association fiber connects the adjacent gyri of same hemisphere, whereas your long association fibers, they are going to connect different gyri or a distant gyri within the same hemisphere. Okay, this is regarding association fiber. I hope you all understood. Now, next, moving on to the second type of fiber. These are known as commissural fibers. So we have seen intrahemispherical. So of course there should be interhemispherical. So you all know we have two hemispheres, right, of brain. So if you take these commissural fibers, they are going to interconnect the same regions of both the hemispheres. If you take two parietal lobes can be connected by a set of a commissural fibers, two frontal lobes can be connected by a set of a commissural fibers. So commissural fibers, it is called as an interhemispherical fibers, which means they are going to connect the same regions of two different or two cerebral hemispheres. Okay, if you take, this is one hemisphere and this is another hemisphere. Okay, so if you take, see here he has marked as corpus callosum. So it is a commissural fiber which we'll be discussing. So it is just going to connect, say suppose the same region. So if you take, the fibers are extending only up to this particular region. I'll just show you in a marker. So if you take, see, this is the region that has been shown, right? So that connects your corpus, that is connected by your corpus callosum. So commissural fibers, they connect the same region of both the cerebral hemispheres. It is an interhemispherical fibers. And the third type of fibers we have is your projection fibers. So meaning projection fibers are nothing but they are going to project from one region to another region. So these fibers, they are going to extend from your cortical areas to your subcortical areas. That is either to your thalamus or to your brainstem or to your spinal cord. Okay, so these are the three types of fibers, and all these points, whatever I told you, are supposed to include in the classification. So I'll just repeat for once more time, you just understand. So you have classification, we have three types of fibers. We have association fibers, we have commissural fibers, we have projection fibers. Association fibers are called as intrahemispherical, meaning they are going to be located within the same hemisphere. So short association fibers, based on its length, it is being divided into two. You have a short association fiber, you have a long association fiber. Short association fiber, they are going to interconnect the adjacent gyri present within the same hemisphere. Whereas a long association fiber, it is going to connect distant gyri of same hemisphere. So this red color line I have just shown to make you understand about the long association fiber. Next, we have commissural fibers. They are also called as interhemispherical fibers, which means they connect both the hemispheres of, but what is the condition? They are going to connect the same regions of both the hemispheres. So parietal lobe versus parietal lobe, temporal lobe or temporal lobe, and so on. If you take projection fibers, if you take, they are going to connect your cortical areas to your subcortical areas like your thalamus, brainstem, or your spinal cord, etc. Okay. Now, we are going to talk about projection fibers in a essay question. Okay, so if you take projection fibers, we have already seen the definition, right? So if you take, this is your cortical area and the fibers are moving on to your subcortical area. So if you take, this is related to your brainstem, right? So this is a projection fiber. So what are the projection fibers available? So if you take, we will be talking in cerebellum about the phylogenetic relationship. So in lower mammals, we will find some parts of cerebellum. Okay, so you all know what is an evolutionary, right? So from lower mammals to higher level of mammals, there is going to be some differences in certain structures, right? So the same way here, if you take, the cortex itself can be divided into broadly into two. So you will have a neocortex, you will have something called allocortex. Okay, so unfortunately I was not able to get the picture for it, so I'll just write it here. So if you take cortex, so C for cortex, cortex itself can be divided into broadly into two based on your phylogenetic relationship. So you have something called as neocortex and you have something called allocortex. See, same thing you will study in cerebellum, neocerebellum, archicerebellum, paleocerebellum. The same thing here, neocortex. And if you take this allocortex, your allocortex will be further divided into archicortex and then paleocortex. Okay, archicortex and then paleocortex. So if you take, why am I telling all these stories is, you need to write what are the projection fibers available. If you take a neocortex as in found in higher mammals, you will have two sets of projection fibers. One is going to be internal capsule, another one something called as corona radiata. So if you take this picture, we have corona radiata and then internal capsule. So these two set of these two set of projection fibers, they are found in neocortex. Whereas if you take allocortex, you are going to have something called as fornix and then fimbria. So these are found in lower animals. Okay, so you have neocortex, allocortex. So the projection fibers concerned with neocortex are internal capsule and corona radiata. And the projection fibers concerned with your allocortex, which in turn includes your archicortex and paleocortex, are going to be what? Fornix and then fimbria. I hope you understood. Okay, so now since we are studying neuroanatomy of human, we are going to talk only about neocortex. So we have two types of projection fibers, your corona radiata and internal capsule. So internal capsule is what we are going to concentrate more because it's an important essay question, very important for clinicals also. I'll tell you my story itself. I mean, what I encountered in my medicine posting because I did not know about internal capsule at the end. Okay. So we will start with internal capsule. So this is a cadaveric picture. Okay, see, neuroanatomy, if you take spotters will be very less because brain is such a delicate structure. If you go and take a specimen from your dissection, all it will be so delicate and it will be so nice to handle, but they won't give brain specimens very easily. Okay, because it has to be preserved and since it is delicate, right? So there is a huge possibility of wear and tear. Okay, so you need to be very careful. So they will have only certain important structures that is going to be kept. One such important structure is your internal capsule. Okay, so I just put this cadaveric picture. So if you're able to trace this, see all these, if you take all these dark colored zones are your gray matter and all this is your white matter. Okay, so if you take, I'll just trace, see, just observe my red color line. This is your internal capsule. So what is an internal capsule again? It is a set of projection fibers, which means myelinated nerve fibers only, right? So this red color line is what is your internal capsule. So if you take medially, you have your head of caudate nucleus. Here you have your lentiform nucleus. Here you have thalamus. So we'll be studying, if you take this lentiform nucleus, caudate nucleus, all these are part of your basal ganglia. We'll be studying shortly. Okay, so if you take, this is your internal capsule. So in cadaver, you should be, I mean in the specimen of brain, if somebody asks you locate internal capsule, you should check for caudate nucleus and lentiform because the zone between these two, the white matter between these three structures, that is your thalamus, lentiform nucleus and head of caudate nucleus is your internal capsule. Okay, so just observe this picture, just have this picture in mind. We'll go to this picture. So what is this picture actually? He has just lifted this portion and he has beautifully colored, he has made it amazing and he has put here. Okay, so the red color line which I drew, tracing your caudate nucleus, lentiform nucleus, thalamus, this is your internal capsule. So if you take internal capsule, it is going to be bundle of projection fibers. Okay, and I told you the relation also. So if you take medially, it is related to head of caudate nucleus and then thalamus. Okay, so this is your medial relation. This is your internal capsule. So this is your medial relation. This is your lateral relation, right? So if you take medially, it is related to head of caudate nucleus and then thalamus. And laterally, if you take, it is related to your lentiform nucleus, L for L, laterally lentiform nucleus. So introduction for internal capsule will give it is a bundle of projection fibers, which is medially related to head of caudate nucleus and thalamus and laterally related to your lentiform nucleus. Okay, so this is the introduction that you will give. So if you take this internal capsule, you are going to have both ascending and descending set of nerve fibers coming. Okay, so what is an ascending nerve fiber? So ascending will be a sensory nerve fiber and descending is going to be a motor nerve fiber. Okay, so if you take descending nerve fibers, so from your cortex, it is going to go to your subcortical areas. Okay, it can go to thalamus, brainstem or spinal cord. So we'll be seeing it shortly. Okay, so first thing you will give an introduction stating what it is, how it is related medially and laterally, and you will say it consists of both ascending and descending nerve fibers. These are the 3 points that you are supposed to include. Next, moving on to parts. Again, I want to observe this picture. If you take parts, we are going to have totally 5 parts. So if you take, these are the 5 parts, this 5 violet color things are the parts of internal capsule. So if you take, you will have an anterior limb. Okay, you are going to have an anterior limb. You are going to have a posterior limb. Okay, I mean posterior limb will come here now. Okay, so I've just drawn it wrongly there. I'll just erase it just a minute. Okay, so you have an anterior limb. Okay, and then you have a posterior limb. Okay, so posterior limb will be somewhere here. Okay, and if you take, this is your genu, and then you are going to have 2 parts, retrolentiform and then sublentiform. Okay, you are going to have retrolentiform and then sublentiform. So this is your retrolentiform part and this is your sublentiform part. So if you take internal capsule, you totally have 5 parts, an anterior limb, a genu, a posterior limb, retrolentiform and then sublentiform. Okay, so this has to be actually a little bit behind. Okay, so this marking you don't mind, but you just understand these 3. Anyways, you will just go for the theoretical part. So if you take anterior limb, I have put it right over the front, right? So the first subdivision and essay question will be parts and relation, which means you should say the part and how it is related. So if you take, this is the anterior limb of internal capsule. So if you take, it is related to head of caudate nucleus and then anterior part of lentiform nucleus. What it is? The anterior limb is related to head of caudate nucleus and then anterior part of your lentiform nucleus. Okay, so we have completed the first part and its relation. Now the second part, that is your genu. See, remember, genu always refers to some kind of a bend. Okay, so if you take the genu part of your internal capsule, it is the bend between your anterior limb and then your posterior limb. So this is your posterior limb, this is your anterior limb. So in between the posterior limb and the anterior limb, you are having a bend, right? So this bend is called as your genu. So genu is a bend that is present between your anterior limb and then your posterior limb. So if you want me to say its relation, okay, so mostly it is going to be a bend, right? So it doesn't have a clear cut relation, I can say, because this bend is what it is. Okay, so I can say maybe related to your lentiform nucleus. Okay, so if you are going to mention it as a bend, that is more than enough. Okay, next is your posterior limb. So if you take posterior limb, it is related to your thalamus and then your posterior part of lentiform nucleus. Okay, so it is related to your thalamus and then your posterior part of your lentiform nucleus. And then you have retrolentiform nucleus. Okay, so if you take retrolentiform nucleus, the part behind your lentiform nucleus. Okay, so behind, I hope you all understand what I'm trying to tell. Okay, so this is your lentiform nucleus. Okay, so the portion that is going to be behind is going to be your what? Retrolentiform nucleus or retrolentiform part of your internal capsule. And if you take, you have a sublentiform part, which means below your lentiform nucleus. So if you take, this will be, I can say this will be your sublentiform part. Okay, this will be your sublentiform part. Okay, so retrolentiform, retro means opposite or behind. You just remember like this. Okay, so you have an anterior limb. This is your genu. Okay, this is your genu, and this is your posterior limb. This is your sublentiform, and behind your lentiform nucleus, you have a retrolentiform part. Okay, so now next thing you are able to appreciate some yellow color, some green color, and then you are able to appreciate some pink color, right? So if you take, I told you, your internal capsule will have an ascending nerve fiber, meaning your sensory. You have a descending nerve fiber, meaning motor. So you should know what are the fibers that is present. Okay, so for which this table is very important. If you take anterior limb, See, we have only 3 types of fibers that we are going to come across in internal capsule. CP, CS, CN. Remember like this. CP stands for corticopontine. See, motor means what? Descending nerve fiber. So it has to arise from your cortex and it has to go to the subcortical areas like your brainstem or your spinal cord, right? So P means what? Pontine. So set of motor nerve fibers arising from the cortical region and terminating over your pons. Corticospinal, which means from your cortex to your spinal cord. Okay, so if you take every part of your internal capsule is related to your corticopontine. Just remember, so everywhere anterior limb, so remember this in order, ma. So you have an anterior limb followed by a bend, that is genu, then your posterior limb, then retrolentiform and then sublentiform. So everywhere you write CP, 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 which means corticopontine fibers. So everywhere it is related to corticopontine fibers. Okay, next, corticospinal fibers. So corticospinal fibers, if you take, it is going to be related to your genu and then posterior limb. Okay, so if you take, this is your corticospinal fibers. Okay, these are your corticospinal fibers. So you have a set of corticospinal fibers supplying your upper limb, and you have a corticospinal fibers supplying your trunk and your lower limb. So corticospinal fibers supplying your upper limb is mostly related to your genu. Okay, and that of your trunk and lower limb is mostly related to your posterior limb. Okay, so if you remember this point, you just write, or in general it as corticospinal fibers. Okay, so see, I told you in order, right? So anterior limb, genu, posterior limb. Similarly, remember our body also in order. Upper limb, trunk, lower limb. So upper limb with the bend. So you have genu. Then trunk and lower limb is by your posterior limb. Okay, so these fibers, they are related to the following parts. Next, sensory fibers. So you are going to have an anterior thalamic radiation, superior thalamic radiation, optic radiation, auditory radiation. Okay, so if you take anterior thalamic radiation is related to your anterior limb, anterior. Okay, so anterior thalamic radiation is related to your anterior limb. So if you take your superior thalamic radiation, so if you are able to appreciate, it's a very long radiation present. So it is related to your genu as well as your posterior limb. So till this you have your posterior limb. So it is related to both genu and then posterior limb. So your superior thalamic radiation is related to both genu and the posterior limb. And retrolentiform, I told you, behind your lentiform nucleus, right? So it is related to your optic radiation, or it is also called as a posterior thalamic radiation. Behind, so remember as posterior. Okay, so your posterior thalamic radiation is related to your retrolentiform part of your internal capsule, and inferior thalamic radiation, inferiorly it is related to your auditory part, so you have your auditory radiation. Okay, so motor part, everywhere corticopontine, genu and posterior limb, you have your corticospinal fibers. Okay, and if you take sensory, anterior thalamic, superior thalamic, posterior thalamic, inferior thalamic. Other names are optic radiation and then auditory. Okay, blood supply, very important for your clinicals. Okay, so if you take, you have straight branches of anterior cerebral artery, middle cerebral artery. Okay, so if you take for internal capsule, you will have medial straight branches of your anterior cerebral artery. I'll just write it as MSB. Okay, medial straight branches of your anterior cerebral artery, and you will have lateral straight branch of middle cerebral artery. This lateral straight branch of middle cerebral artery is also called as Charcot's artery. I would have mentioned in the next slide. Okay, so it is called as Charcot's artery. I know my handwriting is very bad. Okay, CHARCOT, Charcot's artery. Okay, so we have two straight branches. That is your medial straight branch from your anterior cerebral artery, and you have a lateral straight branch from the middle cerebral artery. And what is the name of lateral straight branch of middle cerebral artery? It is called as Charcot's artery. And you have branches from anterior choroidal artery. So if you take blood supply, you should know what is the blood supply of anterior limb. You should know what is the blood supply of genu. You should know what is the blood supply of your posterior limb. If you take anterior limb, you will have these two branches. That is your medial straight branch of anterior cerebral artery, and then you will have branches of from your branches from your middle cerebral artery. This is your Charcot's artery. So your anterior limb is supplied by your medial striate branch of anterior cerebral artery and your Charcot's artery. But your medial striate branch is going to be dominating. Okay. Next, if you take genu, you will be having direct branches from internal carotid artery. Okay, mostly it will be from direct branches. Okay, from internal carotid artery. Next, if you take, you have posterior limb, which is very important. It is mainly supplied by your lateral striate branches. That is called as your Charcot's artery. And you have branches from your anterior choroidal artery supplying your posterior limb. So in general, you take the blood supply revolves around medial striate branch of anterior cerebral artery, lateral striate branch of your middle cerebral artery, branches from anterior choroidal artery. So anterior limb supplied by your medial striate branch of anterior cerebral artery and lateral striate branch of your middle cerebral artery, which is called a Charcot's artery. Genu is directly supplied or is supplied by the direct branches of internal carotid artery. You have posterior limb that is supplied by your lateral striate branch of your middle cerebral artery, also called as Charcot's artery, and you have branches from anterior choroidal artery. Okay, now why am I stressing so much on this blood supply is it's clinicals. Okay, the moment you complete the first year very successfully, you go to second year, you will be in medicine postings, and neuro case is very important. Okay, because for final years we have that as a 10-mark presentation. Okay, so one such case will be paralysis, either hemiplegia, paraplegia. Okay, any kind of a nervous issue will be there. And if you take for any kind of a nervous cases like your plegias, most common cause can be a stroke or an intravascular hemorrhage. Okay, mostly if you take, this will be the history that is told by the patient. Okay, so if you take the lesions of the internal capsule is mainly because of cerebrovascular disorders, which means the blood supply that is, or the arteries that is related to your cerebrum, if there are some disorders concerned, be it an aneurysm. Okay, aneurysm means there is going to be some swelling of the blood vessel, that is called as an aneurysm, or an atherosclerosis, deposition of fat over your blood vessel, that is your atherosclerosis. So you can have an aneurysm, you can have a what is atherosclerosis, you can have a intracranial hemorrhage. So any kind of a cerebrovascular disorder is mostly the underlying cause for a lesion of a internal capsule. Okay, so if you take, as I told you, we can have an hemorrhage, we can have a any kind of a disorder, right? So the most commonest cause is an hemorrhage. Okay, and mostly hemorrhage is of Charcot's artery. So the intracranial hemorrhage of Charcot's artery, which primarily supplies the posterior limb of internal capsule, is the cause of lesion. Okay, this was the question that was asked by a doctor in my postings. He was like, can you name the blood supply of internal capsule? I remember, so I just told you, sir, branches of anterior cerebral, sir, middle cerebral, sir. Be specific. I did not know. Then he made me go to library. Okay, check it. He will not allow us to use phones. Okay, so he made me go to library all the way from my hospital to my college library. He made me check and then he made me answer. Okay, so very important. Okay, so please study neuroanatomy and physiology with a clinical cases. Okay, so that it will definitely help you. Trust me. Okay, more than for exam point of view, like how I studied, I strongly recommend you people not to be so exam oriented for neuroanatomy and physiology. Okay, try to study like this with clinicals. Okay, so we'll come back. So most common cause of lesion of internal capsule is cerebrovascular disorder, especially hemorrhage, and that too if you take hemorrhage of Charcot's artery primarily supplying the posterior limb is the major cause. Okay, whatever I told now is direct line from Vishram Singh. Okay, now if you take how the patient is going to present, for which I would like to get you all back to this picture. We'll be studying in detail in the neurophysiology about the passage of this internal capsule fibers. We'll be studying in detail, need not worry. But for anatomy, understand there is going to be contralateral supply. If you remember me teaching facial nerve, we saw the lesions of facial nerve. We saw contralateral, ipsilateral, which means if fibers arising from one side supplies the opposite side, it is a contralateral. If fibers are arising from one side, supply the parts concerned with the same side, it is called ipsilateral. I'll tell you. If you take, it is arising from the right side of the cerebrum, and it supplies your left side of the body. And if you take here, left side to right side. So this is a contralateral supply. So at your medullary pyramid, okay, you will have a structure called pyramid. You'll be studying in tracks. Do not need not worry. There's going to be decuscation or crossing over of fibers. Okay, so the supply is going to be in the different side. Okay, so if there is a lesion on the right side, patient presents with paralysis of the left side of the body. So just understand, internal capsule supplies the opposite half of the body. It carries the sensory and the motor fibers to the opposite half of the body. So if there is a lesion of internal capsule due to intracranial hemorrhage of a Charcot's artery, it leads to contralateral hemiplegia. Okay, contralateral hemiplegia. So if I start talking about plegia, then we will go for another one now. So we'll be discussing physiology. So hemiplegia means half. Okay, so half side of the body is going to be paralyzed. Okay, so that we will be studying in detail. Do not worry. Okay, so it leads to contralateral hemiplegia. Okay. So that's it, ma. This is about your internal capsule. Okay, so what are the headings you will write? You will define what is the projection fibers. You will do not forget to include this classification under that neocortex, allocortex. You will write its parts, okay, and its relation, and then you will be talking about the fibers that is concerned with your fibers concerned with each part, and then your blood supply, and then your clinicals. These two words are very, very important. Okay, Charcot's artery, contralateral hemiplegia, very important keywords. Now we will move on to corpus callosum. As I told you, this can be kept only for a discussion in your practical exams. Okay, so just listen it as a story. So if you take corpus callosum, I hope you all know it comes under commercial fibers. So what is a commercial fibers? For again, for recap sake, it is a set of nerve fibers that is going to connect the same parts of two hemispheres. It is an interhemispherical fibers. So if you take, you will have, what are the commercial fibers available is, you will have a corpus callosum, you have anterior commissure, you have posterior commissure, you have a hippocampal commissure, and then you will have abuna commissure. Okay, just check it, you will know. Okay, so there are 5 types of commissures. Okay, so if you take, we'll study only about corpus callosum. So corpus callosum, it is the largest commissure. It is an important MCQ. Which of the following commissure fibers? It is the largest commissure found. It is corpus callosum. Okay, so if you take corpus callosum, this is going to lie on the floor of the median longitudinal cerebral fissure. Okay, I forgot to put the pic of a median longitudinal cerebral fissure, but we will talk. Okay, it's very simple. See, say suppose this is your hemisphere, and here there is another hemisphere, right? So the groove present medially in the center, there will be a groove. This groove is called as median longitudinal cerebral fissure. So the fissure or the groove that is present between the two cerebral hemispheres is called as a median longitudinal cerebral fissure. So if you take, if you remember me talking about dural folds again, we have some structure called falx cerebri. Okay, so this falx cerebri is also related to this median longitudinal cerebral fissure. So this corpus callosum, it is going to lie in the floor of the median longitudinal cerebral fissure. Okay, next if you take in a sagittal section. Okay, so what is sagittal section? That is when the structure is cut along your sagittal suture, that is called a sagittal section. The corpus callosum is going to appear as a C-shaped structure. So this is a sagittal section. So it is appearing as a C-shaped structure. So these are the introductory points that you must give the examiner. After that, you will start with the parts. If you take, what are the parts available? You have something called rostrum. You have something called genu. You have body. You have splenium. Okay, if you remember fornix, we spoke, right? It was a projection fiber of an allocortex. Okay, we will be studying that later. So rostrum, genu, body, and then splenium. Okay, so if you take genu, what is genu? Genu is nothing but a bend, as I told you in internal capsule also we saw. So it is a bend that is present, okay, and anteriorly related to your rostrum and posteriorly to the body of the corpus callosum. Okay, this is the first point you will say. Genu, it is a bend that is anterior to your rostrum. Posteriorly, it is continuous with the body of the corpus callosum. If you take genu, there are some group of nerve fibers concerned with genu. That is called as forceps minor. Very important, ma. Forceps minor, if you take, these are the set of fibers that is going to be related to the genu of the corpus callosum. Okay, and then if you take rostrum, that is going to be a downward and a backward extension of your genu. Okay, that is going to be related with the underlying structure there. Okay, so genu is very important. Genu is very important, and you have the forceps minor there. Okay, now if you take body, it is going to lie between your genu and then splenium. Okay, next is your splenium. Splenium, if you take, this is the posterior most part of your corpus callosum, where you have some fibers called as forceps major. So if you take, we all saw this corpus callosum is going to be a set of fibers that is going to interconnect two cerebral hemispheres of the same part of two cerebral hemispheres. So if you take the splenium, you have abundant nerve fibers there. So it is going to connect the parietal lobes, it's going to connect the temporal lobes, it's going to connect the occipital lobes. Okay, so if you take, it is going to connect all the lobes, and finally it sweeps backwards and forms a structure called as forceps major. Very important point to be noted. How the forceps major is formed? If you take in the splenium of the corpus callosum, the fibers are going to supply the parietal lobes, temporal lobe, occipital lobe. Once it supplies the occipital lobe, the remaining nerve fibers, they are going to sweep backwards or bend backwards and form a structure called as forceps major. So forceps major related to splenium, and then your forceps minor related to your genu. Okay, and one more important thing that you must definitely discuss is about septum pellucidum, which is going to be a tissue, or I can say a fold that is going to connect your body of your corpus callosum to your fornix. Okay, so if you take, so from genu, from body, it is going to connect your corpus callosum with your fornix. Okay, if you take in cadaver, it will be beautifully seen. Okay, so you'll just have a very thin elastic structure that will connect your corpus callosum to your fornix. That is your septum pellucidum. So you should talk about forceps minor, forceps major, septum pellucidum parts. So examiner will mostly ask, name the parts. Okay, forceps minor is related to what? Forceps major is related to what? How forceps major is formed? What is septum pellucidum? These are the possible questions. Okay, and internal capsule, very important. See, these are the screenshots that I wanted to share. So if you take in 2012, 2014, 2018, thrice it is asked in the university exam within a span of, see, from 2012 to 2018, hardly 6 years, it has been asked thrice. Okay, and if you take, I just want you all to observe this thing, ma. If you take, see, 15 mark, he has allocated only 25 minutes time, and maximum he has just 16 sites. Maximum he is saying. Okay, so if you take parts and relations, constant fibers, arterial supply, applied anatomy, that's it. So as I always say, please understand, you need not panic that you have so much to write. Okay, see, this is a 50 mark paper, 2018. So our batch wrote, right? So if you see, he will just plainly give like this: classify white fibers of cerebrum with examples, describe internal capsule in detail. So we need to talk about every aspect. If you ask us classify itself, we need to write everything. But you need not do all that, because he has given the side heading. So you need to confine yourself only to that side heading. Okay, so he will frame a question such that you complete within this 25 minutes to 30 minutes. Okay, so you need not worry. So whatever questions we will be telling in our sessions, right? So this is a possible question, this is a possible question. Like if you see in my topic, awareness sinus, I have told. So topics like that, you should give a strong thing. And please, tongue is very important. Okay, it has been asked around 6 times so far. Okay, so these are the possible questions. Anyway, we'll be having a session very soon. Okay, so just get oriented to the question paper. That's why I just put this screenshot, because I want to drag your attention on this. 15 marks, 16 sites, 25 minutes. Okay, so diagrams, write the same thing again. You will fill the pages. That's it. Okay. So any doubts you can post on the comment section. I'll be replying to it. We will see you in the next session. Thank you.